Happy morning, dear students. Today's topic is tracheoesophageal fistula, esophageal atresia. Esophageal atresia is a failure of esophagus to form a continuous passage from the pharynx to the stomach during the embryonic development. Usually, it is associated with tracheoesophageal fistula, that is TEF. Yes, today's topic is tracheoesophageal fistula or esophageal atresia. Coming to the introduction, tracheoesophageal fistula and esophageal atresia are the malformation of digestive system in which esophagus does not develop properly. Esophagus is a tube that normally carried food from the mouth to the stomach. Okay, this is about the introduction of tracheoesophageal fistula. First, we will learn about the anatomy and physiology of trachea and then esophagus. Okay, what is here? Look at this picture. What is esophagus? You know, all of you studied in first year anatomy and physiology. Esophagus. What is esophagus? It is a muscular tube that is connected with the mouth to your up from the mouth to up to your stomach. It is having ring like muscles, that is splinters is there in the upper and the lower portion to contract and relaxation, and it allows the food and the liquids, that is called as esophagus. What is esophagus means? Here it is starting from the mouth to and finally it is connected to up to the stomach. This is called as esophagus. Okay, this is. And second one is trachea. What is our topic? Tracheoesophageal fistula. What is trachea? Here the trachea. Another name of the trachea, it is called as windpipe, commonly known as windpipe. It is a tube about 4 inches long and less than 1 inch in diameter. It brings just under the larynx. It is starting from the larynx. Here the larynx is another name is called as voice box. No, it is from starting from the larynx to and finally it is divided into two and connect to the bronchioles in the lungs. Okay, it is there in front of the breast bone, that is sternum. That the trachea is present in front of the breastbone, that is sternum. Here the trachea is starting from the larynx to and finally it is divided into two and one is enter into the right lung and another one divided into bronchi and enter into the right lung and then left lung. Okay, this is about the anatomy and then physiology of the trachea and then esophagus. All of you clear? First, before starting that, we should learn about what is atresia. Here, the first tracheoesophagus. You know about the what is trachea and then esophagus. Fistula means, what is the definition of fistula? Fistula means there is a connection between the two organs. Here the what are the two organs is that trachea and then esophagus. There is a connection in between the two organs, that is called as fistula. And next one is esophageal atresia. What is atresia? It is undeveloped part or blind end pouch is there, that is called as atresia. You know about what is mostly trachea is not having atresia but esophagus is having atresia. Okay, this is about tracheoesophageal fistula, esophageal atresia. All of you clear? And anatomy and physiology also is over. Coming to the definition of the esophageal atresia. It is a failure of esophagus to form a continuous passage from the pharynx to the stomach. Okay, here it is a failure of the esophagus. Esophagus actually it starts from the mouth to and directly it connect up to the stomach, but some failure is there in between the passage. Okay, that is called as esophageal fistula. Okay, and it is an abnormal connection between the trachea and the esophagus. Here, this trachea, that windpipe, whatever we are taking air, there is an abnormal connection between the esophagus and then trachea is there. So abnormal connection means whatever we are taking food, it may enter into the trachea. So regurgitation and then aspiration will be there. This is about the definition of the tracheoesophageal fistula. Okay, incidence. What is the incidence of the this TEF, tracheoesophageal fistula, is occurs in 1 in 3500 births. Males are predominance. Esophageal atresia with or without fistula is common among premature births. Mostly premature deliveries, so we have seen this esophageal atresia. And 50% of these cases will have associated anomalies like vertebral column diseases, anorectal malformations, cardiac defects, renal anomalies, limb abnormalities. These are the associated anomalies. How much it is takes place incidence? 50% is having along with this anomaly. This is this also gastrointestinal disorders of newborns. Okay, this TF also. Okay, this is about the incidence and pathophysiology. The upper part of the esophagus, you know about esophagus and then trachea. The upper part of the esophagus develops from the retropharyngeal segment. Okay, the lower half of the gastric segment. Okay, actually it is developing in the intrauterine life. About 4 weeks of gestational age, a laryngotracheal groove is formed with divides the foregut into two longitudinal tubes, which is for the development of the trachea. These two longitudinal parts, that is foregut, it is divided into the two parts of the trachea and then bronchus. Okay, and then esophagus. The defect, separation and then ineffective fusion will be leads to the development of tracheoesophageal fistula. Normally this trachea is single connection. Okay, it is separate. Only it is the main function of trachea is to, it is an wind pump. Only gas is exchanging through the trachea. Esophagus is, it is just the passing of the food materials and then liquids. Okay, it in this esophagus pipe both are different, but in this condition tracheoesophageal fistula is there. These two organs is in between that some fistula connection is there. So whatever we are taking food or liquid, it may enter into the trachea. Okay, whatever we are taking the air, it may enter into the esophagus. So there is a fistula between the two organs, that is trachea and then esophagus. All of you clear? This is about the pathophysiology. And look at this picture. Here the tracheoesophageal. Here the ridge is there. Okay, here this blue color part is called as trachea. Okay, here this yellow color part is called as esophagus. Here in this condition so many types is there. We will discuss one by one. Okay, here types. First, here total 5 types is there. We will discuss one by one. First of all, you know about what is the main functions of trachea, what is the functions of esophagus. These two pipes are separate. Esophagus is just only to passage of the food materials. Trachea is, it is an windpipe. Actually in a normal child there is no connection in between two parts, it is there. But here in abnormality, gastrointestinal disorders, there is a fistula. Fistula means connection between the two organs, it is there. Here the total 5 types of TEF is the tracheoesophageal fistula. We will discuss one by one. Type 1. In this type there is a esophageal atresia and proximal and distal segment of esophagus are blind. Okay, here there is no communication between the trachea and the esophagus. This type is seen in 3 to 7% of the case. What is there here? This yellow part is called as esophagus. This snuff color part is called as trachea. This is an windpipe. This is an food pipe. Okay. What happened in this first type? In this type, there is an esophageal atresia. Here the atresia. What I said atresia, what is the terminology of atresia? Here atresia means immature development or developmental failure of this part. Or atresia means it is a blind pouch. There is no connection in between esophagus. Whatever we are taking food, it is comes up to here. It won't comes to the stomach. So this is the first type of the tracheoesophageal fistula. Okay, this is first type. What is there in this first type? There is esophageal atresia and proximal and distal segment of esophagus is blind. Okay, there is no connection is there, just blind end is there, that is called as atresia. Developmental problem, deformity is there, just atresia. Here it is closing point is there. Okay, here this lower part, that is distal part of the esophagus, that also is blind pouch. Okay, is there. This is the first type of the esophagus. All of you clear? How much the percentage it is involves means that is 3 to 7% of cases. This type 1 condition is there, TEF condition. Okay, coming to the second. In this type, esophageal atresia is present and the blind proximal segment of esophagus connects with the trachea by fistula. What is the meaning of fistula? Means there is a connection between the two parts. What are the two parts? It is here esophagus and trachea is there. Okay, the distal end of the esophagus is blind. That in this type seen 0.8% in the cases. Okay, this is the second type. In this type, what we are seen means the esophageal atresia is present and the blind proximal part is there. Here the blind proximal means top part, distal means below the part. Here the same as first type. There is an proximal part is blind pouch, distal part also is blind pouch, but the proximal part of the esophagus is connected with the trachea. This yellow connection is there, no? This is esophagus and then this is trachea. Here there is an two organs is having one connection, that is called as fistula. In this second type, what happened means esophageal atresia is present and blind proximal segment, here the blind proximal segment of the esophagus and connects with the trachea by fistula. The distal part, here the distal part of the esophagus is blind. This is the second type of the TEF, tracheoesophageal fistula. All of you clear? This is second type. Coming to the third type. In this type, esophageal atresia is present. Okay, atresia means blind pouch is there, blind part is there. There is no connection. Atresia is there. The proximal end of the esophagus is blind pouch and the distal segment of esophagus is connected by fistula to a trachea. How much it is, the percentage of cases is there means 87% of cases is present in this type 3. Okay, what is there in this type 3 means, I said no, this is upper part is called as proximal, lower part is called as distal. Here the upper part, in this third type of TEF, the proximal part of the esophagus is having atresia and blind end is there, and then distal part of the esophagus is connect with the trachea. Means it is having fistula. What I said fistula, there is a connection between the two organs. Here the distal part of the stomach is connected with the trachea. What happened in this condition means, here trachea is a windpipe. Whatever we are taking air, it may enter into this trachea and also it enter into the stomach. In this case, we will identify clinical feature, prominent clinical feature, that is the abdominal distension. Whatever the air is inhaled, that baby, it may enter into the stomach. So baby is having abdominal distension. Okay, this is the third type. What is there in the third type? The esophageal atresia is present. The proximal end of the esophagus is blind pouch, and then distal segment of the esophagus is connected with the fistula to the trachea. Okay, this is the third one. And fourth type, it is the rarest. It is a rarest type that occurs in 0.7% of cases. In this type, both upper and then lower segment of esophagus is communicated with the trachea. What happened here? It is rare. Only 0.7% only cases is having this type of fourth type of tracheoesophageal fistula. In this condition, what happened? Both are having atresias, proximal and then distal, but here the fistula is there. Here the fistula, there is a connection between the proximal end of the trachea connected with the trachea, and then distal part of the esophagus is connected with the trachea. Here the esophagus is communicated with the trachea. Okay, this is the rare type. How much the percentage is there? 0.7% of cases may affect with this fourth type of esophageal atresia. Okay, next, fifth one. What is there in the fifth one? Means in this type, esophagus and trachea are normal. Okay, normally it is there and the completely formed but connected by the fistula. Both are separate, but some connection is there in between two organs. In this type is also known as H type and is present in the 4.2% of cases. Okay, what is H type? Means it look like an H, like an H type. Okay, H type, the connection here, this is esophagus, this is trachea, but there is one small connection is there, that is fistula. Okay, this type is called as H type. Okay, look at this picture. Both esophagus is normal, trachea also is normal, but some small connection is there in between two parts, two organs, that is esophagus and trachea. This type is called as H type. Okay, how much the percentage is there for affected children is 4.2% of cases is affected with this TEF. Total how many types of tracheoesophageal fistula is there? Total 5 types is there. Okay, first type is, what is there in this first type? There is an atresia, the esophagus, that is proximal end and distal end is there. Okay, that is the first type. Okay, trachea is normal. But in second type, in this type, esophageal atresia is present and blind proximal segment of esophagus connected with the trachea. Here the blind end is there, but it is connected with the trachea. Okay, that is the third type. And next one is fourth type. In this type, both upper and the lower segment of esophagus is connected with the trachea. Both in fourth type both is there. In fifth type H type it is there. Okay, but both are normal. But one small connection is there in between the trachea and then esophagus. These are the 5 types of tracheoesophageal fistula. Okay, this is very very important types of the tracheoesophageal fistula. Okay, next coming to the clinical features. The presence of maternal polyhydramnios and single umbilical artery should alert pediatricians about the presence of atresia of upper digestive tract. Here, whenever baby is delivered, we have to observe no that umbilical cord, two arteries, one vein is there no. If any single artery umbilical cord is there, that time you should suspect that the child is suffering with some atresia or fistula. Okay, so that is the first indication of any congenital malformation, single artery. Okay, next one is the disorder is usually detected soon after birth when feeding is attempted on the basis of following manifestations: violent response on feeding. Here the child is violent response is there because the aspiration of breastfeed milk enter into the lungs, so baby is having violent respond. The infant is coughs and then choking. The choking is very severe is there. At the same time baby is having coughing. Fluid returns through the nose and then mouth. That fluid means breast milk. Okay, it is returned to the mouth because blind end is there. At the same way, connection is there in between the trachea and the esophagus. These feeds may enter into the trachea, so a child is having choking and then cough. Okay, next one is cyanosis occurs because lungs may enter into the lungs. No, baby is having severe respiratory distress. Okay, baby is having cyanosis and the infant is struggles. Okay, these are the clinical features. And next clinical feature is excessive secretions coming out of nose and then constant drooling of the saliva. What is drooling means? The salivation of the salivation is comes through the mouth. Okay, because baby is unable to swallow the whatever the saliva is produced in the oral cavity, it won't goes into the stomach. So there is a blind pouch is there, no, atresia is there, so whatever it is comes outside. Okay, and next one is fourth is saliva. It is mixed with the some thick mucus. Fourth is saliva is there. Abdominal distension, I said no, in fourth type. Here it is connected, distal part of the stomach is connected with the trachea, so whatever the baby is inhale the air, it may enter into the stomach. That also one of the indication, that is type 4 of type 4 tracheoesophageal fistula, because the abdominal distension is there. Okay, that is. And next clinical feature is intermittent unexplained cyanosis and laryngospasm caused due to the aspiration of accumulated saliva and blind esophageal pouches there. Because of that, child is having accumulation of saliva. Okay, this is. And pneumonia may occur due to the overflow of the milk and then saliva. Okay, because pneumonia, why the consolidation is there, overflowing means because blind pouch is there in the esophagus, baby is taking 2 or 3 sips, it may enter into the overflowing into the lungs, so some consolidation is there over the lungs. Okay, that is, so child is having pneumonia. These are the clinical features of tracheoesophageal fistula. And next, coming to the diagnostic evaluations. Diagnosis can be made antenatally also. It can be suspected if the ultrasound of the pregnant woman shows polyhydramnios. If any mother is having polyhydramnios, that time first suspicion is child is suffering with some atresia, esophageal atresia. Okay, that is the first indication. And soon after birth, vigorous coughing, choking in response to the feeding is an important manifestations. Okay, that also one of the diagnostic by physical examination of immediate taking the breastfeed, baby is having severe cough and then choking. Okay, that time also it should be suspect that that child is having suffering with the TEF. Okay, as soon as the diagnosis is suspected, an attempt is made to pass feeding tube through the nose or mouth into the stomach. That time what happen? It won't goes to the stomach. No, sometimes that feeding tube may enter into the trachea. Okay, that time you suspect that okay, baby is suffering with the congenital malformation of tracheoesophageal fistula. Okay, nowadays all deliveries, all delivered babies are they are doing the this NG tube suctioning. Okay, So they are evaluating any problems is there for delivery, congenital malformations of gastrointestinal system. The feeding tube do not pass. Next, the feeding tube does not pass into the stomach. It is an indication of atresia. And X-ray of the chest shows air filling esophagus pouch and air in the stomach. If the feeding tube has been inserted, it appears curled up to the upper esophagus pouch. It is tilting upwards. Okay, so that also is shown in the X-ray. An ultrasonograph or ultrasounds enables identification of the type of tracheoesophageal fistula. It shows that ultrasonography shows that which type of the esophagus, that is type 1 or type 2 or type 3 or type 4 or type 4. They are evaluating. Okay, H type of esophageal atresia, in which type it is there? In fifth type it is there. Okay, next, ultrasound helps in identification of type of tracheoesophageal fistula. These are the diagnostic evaluations. Okay, next, coming to the management of TEF. Okay, the management of TEF, tracheoesophageal fistula, is mainly surgical intervention. There is no medical management. Surgical correction is needed for that baby. Surgical intervention depends upon the distance between the proximal and then distal pouch of the esophagus. You know about esophagus. Proximal means upper portion, distal means below the part. Okay, here the proximal and then distal pouch of the esophagus, type of defect, condition of neonate, and high and his weight also is important for surgical interventions. Whether that if it is premature babies, their weight is less, so we are not supposed to advise those babies for the surgical interventions. If the distance between the proximal and then distal tube is less than 2.5 centimeters and the infant condition is good, primarily repair is done by the division and then ligation of the fistula along with the end-to-end anastomosis. The surgical intervention is end-to-end anastomosis. Okay, that is the surgical intervention to correct the fistula. Okay, okay, what happened in this means end to end anastomosis, because the blind atresia is there, no, the esophagus, above part of the esophagus, that is proximal, and then distal part, there they cut, and then lower part also esophagus is cut. They make ligation in between the two parts, upper and then lower part. How much when they did this means, if it is less than 2.5 centimeters, the gap between the upper distal part and then proximal part, that time only they will do the surgeries. Okay, this is about the management. There is no medical management. Surgical intervention is there for the TEF conditions. And the surgical management, that is end to end anastomosis. End to end means the upper part, proximal part of the esophagus, and then lower distal part of the esophagus is anastomosed. Okay, they make ligation in between both. And the next surgical intervention is esophagocoloplasty, and next surgical intervention is esophagogastroplasty and cervical esophagotomy. These are the surgical interventions for TEF condition. And next, staging surgeries. Here they are doing the surgeries according to the stage wise, stage 1 and then stage 2. When the distance is more than 2.5 centimeters and the condition of infant is poor, a two-stage procedure is done. Okay, if it is baby is not healthy, baby is premature, baby's condition is very poor, that time they are go for surgical intervention, two-stage surgeries. In stage 1, what they are doing means tracheoesophageal fistula is ligated and gastrotomy is done to reduce the risk of reflux and to provide feeding. So through the stomach gastrotomy, they giving the feedings. Okay, that is stage 1. Stage 2 is proximal and distal pouch are anastomosed. If the gap is too large, So the segment of colon is used to reconstruction of the esophagus. Now to replacing the gap is very less, no, so they are taking the colon part, one colon one part, and then they anastomose the like an esophagus. Okay, this is done at 18 to 24 months of the age. Okay, and this surgical intervention is called as staging surgery. When we are using this staging surgery, if child is esophagus distance is less more than 2.5 centimeters, and if child condition is poor, that time only they are doing this staging surgery. Otherwise, just they are doing the end to end anastomosis. Okay, this is about the surgical intervention. Okay, look at this picture here. Sorry, look at this picture. First look at this image where they has to open the baby for the surgical intervention. Means at the right hand, below the right hand side, they should open at the back. Okay, back side, from here to up to the back, they open the they give some incision and then open, and there they have to identify the esophagus. Here the esophagus, this is the proximal end, this is the distal end. Here in between that, here blind end is there, no, they will cut that, and here the blind end is there, no, that also they will cut. The esophagus is rejoined. Okay, here look at this picture. Okay, they cut and then they will suture around the esophagus, that is end of the esophagus, and then suture back together. Okay, that is. And look at this picture, this is the fistula. There is a connection between the esophagus and trachea is there. Okay, here this is esophagus, fistula is there, they will just close that fistula. Okay, and then look at this picture. Here the open, this portion is having some fistula. That portion of esophagus is communicating, fistula is removed. Here this part is they are removed, and this proximal part, this distal part, they will do the anastomosis surgery. That is end to end surgery. All of you clear about surgical intervention? This is the way they are doing the end to end anastomosis. And coming to the nursing management, you know about the before surgical intervention, pre-operative nursing management, and then post-operative nursing management is needed. Okay, what care supposed to give in the pre-operative nursing management? First one is risk for aspiration related to structural abnormality. Why this aspiration is there? Soon after diagnosis, attempt to feed should be stopped. Okay, so because whenever we are identifying baby is having choking, baby is having coughing, okay, you think that that baby suffered with the TEF condition, so you should stop the oral feedings. Otherwise it may enter into the lungs and the pneumonia may be developed, so you should prevent. And NG tube aspiration should be done frequently to aspirate the pooled secretions in the upper blind pouch. Where this pool secretions is there? Because child oral cavity is mouth is secreting the saliva, it won't go down, no. What happen means it may enter into the trachea, so that also you should be do the suction with the NG tube. And next one is maintain patency of NG tube by irrigating with the normal saline, and observe for respiratory distress like pallor, cyanosis, choking, nasal pharynx. Okay, you should check everything and administer the prescribed medications. This is the pre-operative management. And next one is a risk of deficient fluid volume related to inability to take the oral fluids. Because baby is unable to take the oral fluids, no, risk for the deficit of fluid volume. So IV fluid are administered as prescribed by physician, and maintain IO chart. Okay, and maintain hydration status of child by monitoring signs of hydration. Okay, this is about the risk for deficit of fluid volume. Okay, management. And next one is the impaired breathing related to laryngospasm and excessive secretions in the trachea. So what you should be monitor means monitor the vitals of child, administer the oxygen in case of cyanosis, keep child in a semi upright position. Okay, this is the management for impairment of the breathing. Next, coming to the post-operative nursing management. What is post-operative nursing management is ineffective airway clearance related to disease process. And next one is impaired nutrition related to surgery. And altered comfort related to chest tube drainage and then surgery. After finishing of this end-to-end anastomosis, they will keep the drainage tube, okay, at the right below the right hand side, so that drainage management also is needed for that babies. Post operative management, anxiety of the parents related to disease process and care of baby after the discharge. This is about the post operative nursing management. All of you clear? Okay, what are the nursing interventions you should follow? Whether the child is suffering with this suffering with the problems means prevention of aspiration and positioning is very very important. Suctioning and then nothing by mouth should be encouraged for that babies, and prevention of dehydration. So you should administer the IV fluid. Prevention of infection. So you should control the infective measurement, okay, control the infective agents. And then here the post operative management means you should monitor the clear airway and providing adequate feeding for for that baby, reduce the pain, and you should give the analgesics and provide comfort measures, maintaining the chest tube drainage and preventing of the infections by general cleanliness and hygiene. Okay, this is the management of the tracheoesophageal fistula. Okay, I hope everybody is understand today's class.